Belly fat is not like other fat. You can lose weight everywhere else on your body and still have a soft midsection. You can cut calories, do ab exercises, eat clean, and the belly fat just stays there. That's because belly fat, most of it is visceral fat. It wraps around the organs and it's driven by hormones, not just how many calories you eat. Specifically, it's driven by insulin. So when your insulin levels are constantly elevated throughout the day, your body stores fat especially around the midsection. It doesn't matter how clean you eat or how much you restrict calories. If insulin stays high, belly fat, it stays put. Most diets, unfortunately, they fail to address this because they focus on just calories in versus calories out. Eat less, move more. But that approach ignores hormonal reality of how your body stores and burns fat. Fasting, it works differently. When you fast, your insulin drops, and when insulin is low for extended periods, your body finally gets access to that stored fat, especially the stubborn visceral fat around your belly. Here's what most people don't know: visceral fat is actually one of the first fat stores your body mobilizes when you fast. So within about 12 hours of fasting, glycogen reserves start depleting, and your body begins pulling fat stores from visceral fat because it is the first to go. This isn't just theory. Studies show that intermittent fasting can reduce visceral fat by up to 33% compared to only 14% with traditional calorie restriction. That is more than double the results. Huge, right? People who start fasting notice their waistline shrinking faster than the number on the scale drops. That's because visceral fat responds directly to low insulin levels. It's metabolically active fat, and when insulin drops, your body pulls from it and it does so aggressively. But here is where most beginners go wrong. They think fasting, it's just about skipping breakfast. So they stop eating in the morning and then they eat whatever they want during their eating window. And they wonder, hey, why isn't my belly fat changing? Why is my waist not shrinking? The problem is they're spiking insulin right back up during their eating window with processed carbs, sugar, and frequent snacking, and then keep eating throughout that entire window. They're technically fasting, but they're not keeping insulin low enough to make a real dent in belly fat. Fasting creates the opportunity for fat loss, but what you eat and when you eat during that window determines whether you actually take advantage of that opportunity. Okay, you ready for this? If you break your fast with a huge carb heavy meal, insulin spikes immediately, and you've just shut off fat burning for the next several hours. You've wasted the fasted window you work so hard to complete because it just abruptly shuts instead of taking advantage of that momentum. On the other hand, if you structure your eating window strategically, if you focus on foods that keep insulin stable, and if you time your meals correctly, fasting becomes an incredibly effective tool for burning belly fat and belly fat specifically. So that's so important. There's also the question of how long to fast. A lot of beginners start with 16/8, which is fantastic. But if you really want to target belly fat, especially if you've been carrying it for a while, 16 hours might not be enough. It's a great place to start, but start doing then longer fasts, like 24 hours or even 42 hours once or twice a week. That keeps insulin low for much longer stretches. That extended time in a low insulin state, what does it do? It forces your body to dig deeper into fat stores, and visceral belly fat is one of the primary sources it pulls from. Here's something that most people don't realize: fasting is muscle sparing. Your body doesn't just start burning muscle the second you stop eating. When you fast, what happens? Growth hormone significantly increases to protect your lean muscle. Your body's smart. It's not going to burn off muscle. It wants to preserve muscle and burn fat, especially when insulin's low. That said, if you want to build muscle while you're losing belly fat, resistance training is the key. Fasting won't cause you to lose muscle, but it won't cause you to gain it either. Lifting weights helps you build muscle and completely change your body composition. You do not need to spend hours in the gym. Short, intense resistance training sessions twice a week are really enough to signal your body to maintain and build muscle while fasting and continue to burn fat. That combination is what creates that lean, defined look that most people are actually after. But the foundation, it's the fasting. If you don't control insulin, you won't lose belly fat, no matter how much you exercise. Exercise enhances the results, but fasting actually creates the metabolic environment where belly fat can actually be accessed and burned. So if you're struggling with belly fat, if you tried cutting calories and you tried doing more cardio and more gym time and nothing's working, the issue isn't the effort, it's insulin. And fasting is the absolute most effective tool for lowering insulin and giving your body access to that stubborn visceral fat. But you need to know how to do it right. You need to know how long to fast, what to eat during your window, and how to actually structure your training to maximize fat loss and muscle retention instead of overtraining or doing things you don't need to do. Get my free fasting cheat sheet. Learn how to burn stubborn fat without living in the gym or making food your full time job. Link is in the bio for that cheat sheet. My 5-star reviewed book, Fasting That Works, link is in there as well as the link to my Fasting That Works Fat Loss Masterclass.